and the willingness that we have here who are in love and know we are in love and in relationship with trees, because they're reaching out to humanity via us, and people are in relationship. They're probably not conscious of it. So I just want to honor our process as we gather to start this movement, because the trees are doing this. They're guiding us. And I just want to add one other thing is I've been driving all over the US this last year or 10 months. And as I go across the Rockies and the Wasatch, those ranges, that the drought conditions are showing, because the tree beetles are in these huge forests. So it hurts my heart, and so I'm sharing it because I think we need to bring our awareness to the impacts that we're having, and for us to hold this arboreal relationship in the highest, deepest, most profound regard, to help this become more conscious, and that because the Amazon, we have to stop what's happening in the Amazon. We have to bring that to a halt so we can preserve what is next. So that's my check-in, my beloved ones. And I'm just going to go ahead and pass it so that we can move forward. Maybe, I don't know, more easily. But Joan, would you be willing to check in? Thank you.
Thank you. That was beautiful. And I just want to say thank you, Danalia and Ejna, for this opportunity. The work that you started is such a blessing. And I've noticed more and more trees and more nature elders are speaking to me. So I've had a relationship for a long time with different nature elders, but now I feel like they want their voices out in the world, and you've actually provided an opportunity for this, and I can just feel it even as I'm speaking. I forgot to say that I'm coming to you from the unceded territory of the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh in Vancouver. So I just want to bring that into, I should have started with that. But I just feel the blessing of this, and I'm so glad to be here, and I'm so glad to be with you all. I feel like kindred spirits. And
You want to pass it to the next person?
sure, I'll pass it to Sharon.
I'm Sharon in Wilson, North Carolina, Cherokee lands. Um, this is so interesting because I just befriended another lady last night who was talking about what trees share, the phytome sides. And she was shocked. She's a naturalist and whatever, and so she was excited. And I said, "Oh my goodness!" I said, "Oh, you just discovered this." Anywho, we had a long chat about trees, and all of a sudden, I just felt very thankful that whatever any of us tree sisters are doing, someone else is watching, and we're helping them to learn that we're all interconnected. We are interconnected with nature. And she was sensing that. And I showed her pictures of my mother's side, the bald cypress. And she was like, "Oh my goodness, it's such a beautiful tree." And I told her the history. But, like I said, the summary of it is that a new individual started realizing that we're completely connected. and had never really saw that before. You know, had still seeing trees and plants as objects versus relatives, interrelated, reciprocal, interconnected, interdependent. She was feeling that. And I felt really good about that because she's in a group, we're in a group where many of the people are more into on a defensive nature. And I'm sure that our conversation, that they read it and it would be impressible to the others. That was what I wanted to share. And so I pass this on to Nancy.
Okay, thank you. Wow, I've had a great past 10 days. I went to visit somebody in Albany, New York. I live in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. And I was surrounded by the coloration of the trees everywhere, all different shades of not quite red, but getting red and oranges and golds. I mean, just vivid colors up there and greens. And then I worked my way down to Shawnee on the Delaware. So there was the Indian name. I stayed at the Shawnee Inn, which used to house big band groups. And my parents actually met there. So that's why I decided to stay, because they had worked for a company that the singles would go there for the big band, Fred Waring's band. So on that property, I saw a ginkgo tree. It was the hugest ginkgo tree, and the ginkgo tree is actually the oldest tree that's what I was taught as a child, because the seed is considered naked. It's not considered hidden. It's like outside. So it's in a different kind of primitive category. Maybe somebody else can explain it further, but I was just in awe of Indian names. And I went to Jim Thorpe and learned that that name was previously Mock Chung. And I went to the lake early in the morning around sunrise, and I saw the mist coming off the water. I mean, it was just magical. And the name Mock Chung means sleeping bear, because the mountains are like rolling. And if you look at the side, if you look at the mountains, it looks like a bear lying, sleeping and hibernating. And then that name was changed to Jim Thorpe, who was the first Native American to win a gold medal in the Olympics 1912 in, I think it was Scandinavian countries, or yeah, Scandinavian countries. And he won the decathlon and some other kind of race. So he was the first American Indian. I forget his name. It was like James Francis something or other. And it gave the name of his tribe. I think it was SAW, Saw Tribe. And then the town, and he got the medals, but then not too soon afterwards, of course, there's a committee, and they said, oh, well, you were a semi-professional sports person before this. We have to take your title away. And that was a huge uproar in the world. That was 1913. And so the town shifted the Indian name, Mock Chung, to Jim Thorpe in honor of him. So it was a wonderful time in their cute little towns, and a train ride and a coal going down into the coal mines on a tour. It's just a nice getaway for me. So thank you for letting me share. Over.
Nancy, would you like to pass to someone in the group?
I have a cell phone and I cannot see
Okay. All right.
the
I'll pass to Three Child?
Hi, it's Street Child from the unceded Mi'kmaq lands in Nova Scotia, Canada. And yeah, it's very gray and not really raining, but I'm finding the eclipse to be rather intense. It's right on my moon today. So a lot of kind of underwater, under the surface, swirling and twirling of emotions happening for me. I feel like there's some, cleansing happening. So being here feels really good. The music you played really shifted some things, and calling on all the tree elders of the land around me, and letting in that support. Yeah, what else? Feel inspired by this group and the interconnectedness of the trees, bringing us all together. And in some ways, it feels like trees are guiding this path, and I really appreciate the willingness to listen. So I'm grateful that I found my way here. Thank you.
Are you able to pass it, or would you like for one of us to do so?
Oh, I can't see who's there, so could you choose somebody, please?
Hillary, would you be willing to?
Yes, I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm coming to you from the traditional lands of the Wendat and the Anishinaabe and many other peoples who have settled in this land of Newmarket, which is just north of Toronto, Ontario. Um, I'm coming with a great sense of joy today. And I just love, Ashna, when you use the word anointing. The whole concept of anointing and the sacredness that brings up in me is such a beautiful sensation. Um, and I cannot help but whenever I hear GTEM, I'm a Montreal girl, and so it means I love you, and in French, je t'aime, and the T is so special because it's the intimate relationship of love. It's not I love you plural. It is an intimate relationship with the T. So je t'aime, it just brings me back to my roots, to my sense of cosmopolitan. And I think that there's a cosmopolitan nature to this project that I think is a really cool vibe to it. And I just wanted to make a note of the photo I put in my background. I took this last week in Sweden, and I was visiting my son and family there. And they get lots of rainbows. It's actually a double rainbow, and I love this picture because it looks like the trees, the rainbows coming literally out of the trees, and not into the trees, out of the trees. So I just wanted, and that's the Baltic Sea that's in the background there. So I just wanted to just say that's how I'm feeling today. There's this beautiful rainbow and anointing and cosmopolitan love.
Beautiful. And Danalia, beautiful Danalia.
Coming to you from the unceded territory of the Quachino Nation. I've now heard it pronounced more correctly, Quachino Nation. The rains have started here, and it partly to the eclipse, I'm sure, and it's quite dark and cold and raining. So I'm remembering I lived on the West Coast in the rainforest for a decade, and but I've been the previous decade in the interior, so we got lots of snow here. If I choose to stay on the island, I will be in lots of water, lots of sacred water for the winter. So I'm feeling my body's response to the shift in the season. I'm coming here feeling gratefully quite settled and slow. I was up at 3 a.m. in the morning and have been working literally at top speed to try and catch up. I feel I'm very behind in a bunch of things. And my heart is really calling me to actually withdraw a little bit from the amount of outward things I'm doing, because I need to write the story of the harvest of 2022, and this step is necessary in order for me to step into my new work. So I can't just let it go. So I'm feeling a little bit of tug inside of me. I am very happy to be here, because yes, as we settled in and felt out, and even just speaking to the our tree and other nature elders in the opening sound weaving that I did, I felt myself just really settle and slow down and drop in. And so I'm just really grateful that we have this excuse to come together to actually drop in and root in. So that is my check-in. And if it's okay, I'll just speak to a little bit of what we're looking to do today. Does that work for everyone? Just so we have a tiny overview. So what we're thinking to do, and everything is very, very open, is this because this is a co-created space and experience and movement. But one of the things that we can do is put the jam boards from the previous session up on a shared screen. Invite each of us to just have some paper with us and some pens or crayons. And then just leave that Jamboard up for literally not very long. It's like 10 seconds or 12 seconds. And it's like, what jumps out at you? It might even just be a word. It might be just one message. It might be nothing. There might be nothing on that board. And then we'll just go to the next one and to the next one and the next one. And then we'll just take an opportunity to go around and just say what is jumping out for you. Maybe I could just have a show of hands before we do that. Has anyone else? I had asked people to kind of do this process before we came here. Has anybody had a chance to at least look at them? Great. Joan did. Hillary did. Sharon, you had a chance to look at them as well? Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. And okay, great. So, well, maybe I should have done this first. Do we actually need to look at them again, or yeah, let's just have a little pass by. Okay, and then we'll have
Yeah,
a sharing.
I think it is helping our focus into preparing for the website discussion that
Mm-hmm.
we're going to have. And then in your email, you had said about meeting times and locations, but maybe at the end, because once we've done this kind of collaborating and creating together, we might have a better sense of like how the meeting, the meeting frequency, etc. And do all of you have a lot of black squirrels around? I have never seen a black squirrel
Mm-hmm.
ever. Good. Okay. There's one that's been, yeah, it's just zooming away now that I'm talking about it. But anyway, I just wanted to check in because I had this black squirrel is present. So thank you for letting me interrupt, Emily. Okay.
Yes. So just to finish, I'm sorry, I got sidetracked too. So we'll do the Jamboard thing, share what's come out of it. Then I've actually set up another Jamboard that has 3 questions on it about the website, so we could have a bit of creative brainstorming time together, and then also see how we can start to support some of the structure we have, like that. We'll have some ideas around how the Facebook group could be looked after, or coordinator help, that sort of thing. So that would be coming to our closing time, as well as Ejna's asked us to look at, the meeting times and days to come and to put that under discussion as well. But before we do that, Hillary, did you want to say anything about the black squirrels or the Council of Squirrels? Oh, there we are. She is.
I just put a note up. I have a council of squirrels who showed up about a year ago. and they came scurrying in during a meditation, and I said, hello, and I said, who are you? And he said, one of the leaders said, was not, there's no one leader because they circulate the leadership like they told me, but one said, we are a council of squirrels, we're not a group of squirrels. So they were very clear that they are a council. And I've actually written a children's story about how the council of squirrels teach children sacred geometry from where they hide and bury their treasure. So yeah, so I love, and a black one came right up to me yesterday. I'm sure he was from the council.
Well, and Hillary, wasn't that when I was opening like a listening field in
Yes,
Spokane? Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
that's when it was. Yes, that's when it was. It was during that, and they scurried in and very clearly said we're a council.
And they haven't, they're like the communication network across you talk about the moccasin telegraph. They're like the
Yeah,
world telegraph in the sense
yeah.
that they pass things from one side of the country to the other. So
The nuts in us.
But
Hilarity.
but again, it's about
Hilarity for Hillary.
but the framing of it was so, it made, every time I see a squirrel in my backyard now, I think of them as a member of the council, and it has, I have a different relationship, ironically, with them, because now they're not just a family, they're decision makers, they are, they are collaborators, they've in my mind, they have become something that is so, and again, and they live in the trees, and so they're again, they have a really, I think, a really important relationship with this project, this little council.
I'm so thankful this is being recorded, because just with what we've shared, it's a teaching, it's a upliftment, it's an inspiration, everything that's been said, even to this point. And to bring in our Animal Nation friends, and the black squirrel came. So I feel like the council is like, it's more of the
They're sitting with
enunciation.
us.
So I love it. Thank you. All right.
yes,
Okay.
and I'd like
All
to
right.
just acknowledge that when Joan, when you were speaking, that I felt our tree relatives come in, like I felt them come closer. So I wanted to just really acknowledge that.
I think they are really part of this.
Mhm.
Thanks to you and Ejna.
Yes, yeah. And I would also like to say, please, can somebody remind us to press the record button, because I didn't press it. I said I was, and then I think I got distracted. So we didn't do it until partway through Esna's check-in. So just some way we can help each other to make sure that recording is going. That would be really great. All right, so.
I have a squirrel. It's gray, and it's been with me the 40 years I've been here in Pennsylvania, and it's out in the tree right outside. So I'll throw my food and whatever out there. So I don't know what he eats, if he eats it or not. I haven't seen him, but I drop it off at night so my neighbors don't see me do it. And yeah, he's been my friend, and he comes out. We talk to each other. I stand there and look at him on the tree, and he like studies me, and we eyeball each other. And how you doing today? How my little sweetness? And he's like, what is this being saying to me? So yeah, I love the squirrels. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So I'm going to share screen in a second and put up that first Jamboard. And just help me out here. Like, is 10 seconds, 15 seconds? I mean, some of them take a bit of reading time. So tell me, what do you think for length of time to leave it on a Jamboard before I shift it?
Why don't we test out 10 seconds and see how that works? And if it's not sufficient, then we could go to 15.
Okay.
How about that?
I think 10's going to be, well, I had a look and I was like, oh, there's a lot of words on some of the sticky notes, right? So it's like, if you're a slower reader, then it, one note would be that. But I think we're scanning anyways, right? So what jumps out at you, dive into it, and then, yeah, see what's alive there. Okay. All right, so here we go. All right, so, whoops.
It needs to be bigger to be able to see, at least from me. Is it possible to make it bigger?
Now,
There. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
yeah, I did that with my fingers, so I don't know if you can do, oh yeah, that's right, I'm on yours. Okay, so let's begin. And I'll move it so we can see more.
I can pinch my two fingers diagonally and enlarge what you're showing us.
Okay, we're at 30 seconds.
It's good for me.
Okay.
Right now, I see the Hollywood squares of all the people, not the Jamboard. It shifted to people, the participants.
Maybe swipe one way or the other, Nancy, if you're on a phone.
Oh yes, thank you.
Could you go back to the word page one more time about pollinating, please? Thank you.
Anywhere in particular on the page?
No, I just needed a double check on the, yeah, I can
Yep.
see it now. Okay.
Complete?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome, Winnie. We're right now, we're looking at the jam boards, and just very briefly, kind of having paper and pencil available to see what kind of jumps out at us from the jam boards. And I think it'll be a natural, because after we finish this kind of a small, quick harvest, then we're going to each share about it. So that'll be a good way for you to be able to kind of join in.
Yes, we're looking for, we're kind of tracking what's alive, kind of what jumps out at us, what attracts us. Words, a concept, idea. Everybody ready? I'm going to shift.
Okay.
Okay. Same question. How do we want to organize ourselves? How many times to meet? And that is it.
I was going to take a moment to introduce Winnie because I met her just within the last week, and it was very clear to me the trees were part of this synchronicity of our meeting. So, so Winnie, I just want to welcome you, and I'm hoping it's okay for us to take just a couple of moments. Maybe you could do a short version to share with all of us tree lovers. There's Akash. Look at Akash. Hello, Akash. Is that preciousness or what? But would you be able to share your amazing gift from your tree? It's a beautiful story. It's worth our if that's okay. Would that be all right, Fanny?
Yeah, of course, I would love to. Hi, everyone. My name is Winnie. This is Akash, my 8-month-old baby. And a couple months ago, I was really struggling to breastfeed, and Akash had developed a breastfeeding aversion. And so there was a lot of stress on me and on him too. He was crying after every feed, he was losing weight, and I just couldn't really figure out what was going on. And recently I had started to breastfeed outside to change up the scenery and just to like have a new environment to breastfeed in, because I thought that would help. And one day we were walking around the yard. I'm at my parents' house right now. This is where I grew up. And there's a tree that's outside that was really calling my name. And so me and Akash walked up to this tree, and I was just holding him, and we looked up at this tree, and I put my hands on her, and we were just praying and meditating together. And I really felt how she has always been here overlooking me and my family and our spiritual paths since as long as I can remember, and that she's always been an integral part of my spiritual journey, and I just never realized it. And as I was meditating with her and I closed my eyes, I received this huge wave of love, and also what I felt like was wisdom from her. Like she imparted onto me this vision of what being a grounded mother is and what that feels like. And she allowed me to see that lens through the breastfeeding stress and like the other things that were going on, just being a new mom. And yeah, it was just really profound. I hadn't been able to like take a deep breath for months, and she was able to help me do that just by giving me her knowledge. And so then we thanked her, and we just kept walking around the yard. And then that night, when Akash woke up to nurse, I was meditating and I was channeling her energy, imagining her grounding me as I was starting to get anxious. And he breastfed really well that night. And then the next morning, we woke up to the sound of like power tools. And I looked outside my window, and there were people cutting her down. So my dad had actually hired people to cut this tree down and didn't tell any of us because a branch had hit our roof the winter before and like damaged it, and he was nervous. So I felt like she had called Akash and I to her side to kind of impart any last wisdom that she wanted to share and almost offer me the teachings before they cut her down. And that experience with her completely shifted my motherhood and my breastfeeding journey. Akash started breastfeeding so much better after I remembered the wisdom that she had given me and just the feeling. It wasn't super intellectual, it was more so just a feeling and a vision. And so, yeah, that tree, that experience just means a lot to both of us and has helped us both stay grounded through all the changes. And yeah.
Thank you, Winnie. Yeah,
Thank you.
I feel like this is part of the depth and the uniqueness, that we need, not just humans, we need our trees and our nature elders. So yeah, so I thank you, Winnie, for being willing to share that. And I asked her about maybe writing it up for us to go on our website, So anyway, let's go ahead and do our harvest from our time, our boards. And
Thank you.
this little guy, I love him so much.
Thank you, Winnie. My name is Dandalia. I am so honored to meet you, and welcome to both you and Akash. I know the name Akash as a Sanskrit name. Is that why you chose it? Is that the cultural connection?
Not for me personally, but I was just meditating one day and I asked him what he wanted his name to be, and he said Akash. So I wasn't sure about it because it sounded Sanskrit to me. But that day later, the name popped up multiple times and I never heard it before. And so I was kind of like, okay, if you want your name to be Akash, I will surrender to that. But for months I had resisted it. And he made it really clear that was the name he wanted. So yeah, It is.
Well, I just, this is something that Ejna and I have seen as we moved personally around into communities, is that there's a storytelling aspect to this movement. So I just want to share that the minute you said Akash, I was like, oh my gosh, because I'm a sound healer and a sound weaver, and part of the work that I did a decade ago was when women were in the last 2 weeks before they gave birth, they would come to me for a session, and I would tune into the baby and bring through the baby's song. And the first baby I ever did that for, his name was Akash. And so that little connection, and his parents are, they're mixed race, they're India and Caucasian, and also have been a huge part of my work with water a decade ago. I mean, and the trees. So there's this beautiful nature elder as well as human connection, and I'm choosing to remember what Akash means, but it's there's a beautiful. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up, Hillary says. Yeah, no kidding. We're mycelializing, I think. So anyways, I thank you so much, and welcome to you both. I wanted to ask you, part of my work is very much this kind of one-on-one personal relationships with nature elders. What is the species that this tree, this grandmother tree, is?
Um, I think it's a pine tree, but I don't know. It's a very tall, straight, light wood trunk, and then the leaves, they were all pine needles, and they had like, it was like the main one, and then it wasn't just like this. There were all these like smaller ones, but they were all like pine needles.
Beautiful.
And they had the tiny and they have the tiny brown they look like mini pine cones, but they're not pine cones to my knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Beautiful. Well, now we're all attuned to the magic and the mystery. Let's go down another mycelial thread around what inspires us, how does this want to organize itself, etc., etc. So we'll just go in a circle, and I'm going to go to who's in my right. So I'm going to go to Joan. You're on my right. So unless we have any other instructions, we're listening. What
Okay.
jumped out for you? What's alive? Yeah, from what you saw.
What's alive for me is really the opportunity to connect and interconnect with nature elders and people who are attuned in that way, and also then to be able to reach out and share, and so that the sort of wider group of humanity can get access to the wisdom and the teachings of not just the trees, but of all nature elders. And then the networking potential between humans and nature, and between all of us and where we are. Like I see multiple layers of networking. So there is a mycelium-like quality to that. And I frequently get some teachings from the forest on that we as humans are both tree and forest, and we need to learn to be in both consciousnesses at once. And I really see that aspect in this as well. And I love the idea of storytelling and different ways of interacting both on Facebook and on the website.
Thank you, Sharon.
Okay.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Yes. What jumped out at me was meeting twice a month. Having master lists. Maybe it wasn't on there, but it's just coming from my brains. of other tree groups. Uh, um, is anyone familiar with Tree Sisters? Yes. Okay. So I was thinking of somehow making a connection with them as well. And then something else struck me was, now I know this may sound far-fetched, um, but there's a reason behind I'm thinking this, and that is to actually petition for trees to have legal rights. Now, that may not be sensible to other people, but I remember thinking in South America, that's what they did in the sense of giving water. I think it was water, or was it trees, or was it forest? You know which one, Daniela? Um, for legal rights. Because, well, it should be obvious, but and I thought to myself, well, hope no one takes this offensively, but if the impotent colonizing patriarchy can't comprehend that we're all interconnected, and again, as a former corporate person, I understand for the last 5 years, we cannot win playing on their playground. You have to establish your own playground. And pushing this particular button is a beginning of the process, because that comes out of left field. That is not in their playground field. And
Sharon,
if we, I'm
Sharon,
sorry.
I'm just gonna interrupt just for a second, just to say
Okay.
that at the moment we're just polling, meaning we're polling what people saw. So
Okay.
we're right. So the actual doing or whatever of that thing is another drilling down. But yes, so we've got the 2 times a month, the master list, and the petition for trees to have legal rights. Was there anything else that jumped
That's
out?
it.
Those three? Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Just looking at the time, it's 10 o'clock, so we have 30 minutes. So
Okay.
beautiful. Hillary.
So what really struck me was the idea of what's unusual. It's focusing on not what other places are doing, but what's really unusual. And it was from the photo that had the beautiful flowers growing out of a bark. And that photo struck me that there's such beauty found in unusual places. And it was about so I started to go with the unusual. And so it was looking at the idea of Reiki with trees, which was one of them. So healing practices that we would normally work with humans, starting with trees, and then what about an interspecies Reiki healing? And so to me, part of what was jumping out at me, and it's because of my particular lens, I know that, is what's really different. And where's a place you can go to do really different things, and meet people who also want to do some different things, and the trees want to do different things. I think they're interested, my sense is from the trees that I connect with, they want to have some fun, and they want to be explorers, and they want to try some new things that they haven't tried before. And so that was what really struck me, and it was the idea of not heart, but la cour. That was so la cour, maybe with the GTEM, maybe that's, the whole idea of the French word for heart, being, and that idea of international, and maybe looking at the concept of different parts of this organization having different sections of it named after different name for tree in different languages, and so communicating some different in some different ways. So that's what was me. It was jumped and the idea of pollinating unusual things. So bringing together things and pollinating things you would not normally see together. So and a lot of it came from the visuals and picking a word here and there.
Beautiful, thank you. I noticed Ejna put in the chat a request around if people can stay a little bit longer today. I know my time is a little bit, I could manage 15 minutes myself. We wanted to check, are people good if we go 15 minutes longer? Nancy's good, Hillary, yes, you're okay. Sharon can't. Joan, you're okay with that? She can do that. Winnie, can you? She can't either. Okay. So let's work towards having the Jamboard with the website. Let's that's the other piece. And then if people want to stay longer, maybe to look at more of to drill down a bit. How is that for everyone?
Yeah, I think
I have a
this quick harvest and then go to the Jamboard. I mean, the
Yeah.
website. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Again, for those of us who are still let to speak, just polling, just sort of listing. Yeah, just as Hillary did. Beautiful. Tree Child.
Okay. I do have a client on the half hour, sorry. But I'd just like to read what came out of mine. Trees, interconnectedness of tree roots, intertwining life force, interwoven in the forest floor, opening to one another in life-giving, receiving, welcoming, interconnectivity, relaying trust with willingness, radical acceptance, coexistence, teaching humans to coexist, ground, organize ourselves into forest of interconnectivity. How can we realize we need each other just as the trees do? Learn from them to hold one another's hands and hearts tenderly so as to encourage the best in each other. Rise into our best collective embodiment. As we meet other humans worldwide on Zoom, we meet other tree elders worldwide, expanding our sense of global oneness and unity. We learn from the trees not to judge others, to leave no one behind, just as the tree elders share nourishment with those little ones on the forest floor, not yet big enough to reach for the sun. May we bring our gifts to all who need them, trusting we will be guided to where to share deeply and fully our unique gifts. Thank you.
That was a poem.
Thank you. Nancy, what jumped out for you?
Well, I like the picture at the beginning of the spider web. I mean, as long as it's a website, and that's the original name for www, Wide World Web, we could have on the website a spider web, I don't know, that maybe goes over an image of the globe, or I don't know, or it's just animals around the edge or trees around the edge, something to that effect. And then I like the 2 times a month. And then I like the idea of pictures. So as I say, ginkgo tree, like I did earlier, have like a grid, like a calendar. I've often thought of the calendar and make the 7 days of the week sort of be renamed as the seed, like for Sunday, the root for Monday, stem for Tuesday, branch for Wednesday, leaves for Thursday, flower for Friday, fruit for Saturday. And then, as people say, like ginkgo, you could quickly bring up that picture of those 7 phases of that particular tree, so we're educated. Otherwise, I hear names of trees, I don't know what they look like. So this would be a helpful educational tool too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Winnie, was there anything you'd like to add? I know you came in, but what jumped out for you when you looked at the jam boards, if you had a chance to? You're beautiful.
Hi. I don't think there was anything really in particular that stood out to me. I'm still kind of piecing together everything in its context. So I'm more so just observing and listening right now.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Reiki piece, it still stayed with me from the very first time, every time I look at it. And I just think about the massive Reiki network, like the massive network of Reiki practitioners across the world as a as a mycelializer. And then me too, that image of the tree with the white flowers was actually one of the strongest images for me. And it was something about the trees. For me, it was the community trees drawing the humans. The humans were the white fungi or flowers. I don't know which they are, fungi or flowers, but the tree was attracting them. And so it was like, right, let's open a listening field or something with the nature elders and invite them to, really spread it out. Regional groups, regions. I'm feeling very much this call around landscapes, regions. Like they're so particular, the kinds of trees that and elders that grow or not grow, right? We've got landscapes that have no trees, and make sure that they're somehow in our network, the places where there aren't the trees or something. And then tree dream groups. Like I know a tree elder she's a dreaming tree. So I'm curious about that. I'm curious about trees and dreams, people and trees dreaming together. And then the art piece. Yeah, very, very how that, especially the storytelling and the art piece, like making sure we have forums where that can happen easily. Now, is that everybody? Yes, yes,
I'll
yes, yes.
go. I'll go. I
Oh,
think I'm the
Eshna,
last
please.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
It's amazing. Feel like what I'm picking up is very similar to what everybody else has already, just maybe a little bit different wording. The discovery process, with the creativity. But one thing that came, and it's probably maybe to move on even to the website, is that the videos, I feel like we could all make videos of our stories and have them on our website, because the nourishment that we're gaining and we tell our stories, not just to read, but to bring it forth, from our love and our enthusiasm, our joy and our beauty. So, and then for us to, it's this mutuality for us to live in the paradox of led and being led and creating together and in this mycelial way, because I think we're going to be modeling this. We're actually modeling relationship with this. And even as Danielle and I are modeling how we're all creating this together, we're trying not to let any of this fall too heavily on any one single one of us, but this mutuality of expression. And I had the dream group come up also, so and I took mine on notes, and I'll just send them to you, Daniela. The notes that I took, I tried to put them in the chat, but it won't transfer from my notes into the chat. So I'll just send it to you by email later. But yeah, maybe we could move on to the website from this harvest right now.
Yes, and just to respond to that note thing, I mean, what I'm trying to do is use a Google folder, and so if we can, put that up, like your document maybe would go up there, or if people wanted to put their notes up into the folder, then other people can read them, as opposed to, because no one yet is actually putting things together. Does that make
And
sense?
that's the link you sent? Did you
Well,
send the link?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things. So one thing I know we're going to the website, but I just wanted to respond. One of the things Sharon had asked for was this this place about contacting other tree groups, and I wanted to just share that I actually created a document this morning in the Google folder that says please list the groups and organizations you come across that you feel would be resonant with our intentions. So and I do need to check that the access all works, Joan, but yes, the ideal is that GTEM has a folder and you can see everything that's in there. I did also say that I uploaded a file to the Facebook group. There's a file tab, and I uploaded a document that has all the Google links, at least has the Jamboards from last month. It has the, da 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 da. So there is one place that there is a document, but I think the document's going to need to sit up in the Google folder so that people can edit and add things. But okay, so moving to, yes, now this is what there we go. All right, so share screen, and do we have anyone with us who's not familiar with the Jamboards, or shall we just proceed? I guess we can't see, can we?
I'm not familiar with the Jamboard, but I also have to take my son to take a nap right now. So I just wanted to say it was nice to meet you all, and I'm going to jump off the call, but I'll catch up with you guys at another point on other questions that I have.
Yeah, we'll put the recording. Yeah, we'll put the link in the Facebook
Oh,
group
yeah.
if you want to join us there, or in the email. Anyways, we'll make sure the link is available for anyone who wants to watch it after. Thank you,
Yeah,
Winnie.
perfect.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Akash.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so
And
here.
can you give me the new, is it going to be a new Jamboard link? If you could
Yes,
email it to me, that would be great.
there is. Okay, we will absolutely do that. I'm gonna, for the interest of time, we'll get everybody started. So you'll see. Oh yeah, I need to do that anyway. So sorry. Here we go. Share. Copy link, and it's set on editing. So I'm gonna put it in the chat. There we go. So everybody can open it on their own computer. And do you need me to email that to you, Tree Child?
Yes, please.
Or you, okay. Versus the chat. That it's better for email? Okay.
Yeah, I can't get into the video in the chat. It just, I can get in long enough to make this phone call at home. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. All right, here we come. Here it comes. All right, I just sent it to you. So now we all open it, and can everyone open to the Jamboard? It should say October 25th website. That's the title. Yep, everyone's good. So one of the things that Hillary taught me, she's the one who taught me about the Jamboards, but I'll just share the screen when you go to the top, the very top bar, and you see the numbers and the Jamboards there, if you click right on that thing where the Jamboards will open up and go all the way across. I think you might have seen me do it with the other one. And that way you can easily, and that plus sign, if you hit it, it's going to add another blank page right after the one. So that if we run out of room on that first question, for example, what's the purpose of the board, you could just add another one. And that's just a general instruction. So you'll see there's what is the purpose of the website, and then what would you like to offer, and then what would you like to receive from the website? How would you like to interact with it? So I'm showing 10:15. Should we do 10 minutes or 8 minutes even in chat? What do you think? 10 minutes, and then we come back and look at them together? Yep. Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Feel free to turn off your video and turn off your mute as well so you can be in your own space. And so I'm going to pause the recording while we do this as well. So remind me, please, to restart it. Excellent. Asking for help and receiving it. Okay.
So what's going to happen is I actually have someone who's willing to build a website for us. So this process that we've gone through is helping to give input into our website. So I feel like this place, if you want to add photos, add them here, and we will transfer them to the building of the website. And with this action right away, we'll get ready for building the website. I think we'll start initially with the image that Danalee and I found together to start this whole process. And if we decide at some point to change it, we can, but it's such a beautiful image. And so if at any point you want to add images, put them on this board, and then we can use this as an input site for building the website. And I feel like we want to try and get started on it ASAP. And I want to share that Winnie is considering to coordinate for our program. We're recognizing that we need someone to kind of coordinate the meetings and getting messages out, and that we also need someone that maybe could volunteer to just oversee the Facebook site. So maybe that's something that you could be thinking about, or if you have others that you think might be interested. I think it might be a little difficult to shift it maybe by quarter, maybe something that could be rotated on a quarterly basis, so it's not something that becomes too onerous for anybody. But we just want to get these messages out to those of you who are here, but also it's on the recording, so when people look at our recording, they can be thinking about the needs we have for an overall coordinator and for a Facebook kind of organizer for this, trying to keep it as collaborative as we can, like this. You know, these Jamboards are a fantastic tool for gathering information. So, Danalia, what would you like to add?
Yeah, I wanted to speak to the Facebook thing because I had an idea that it feels really juicy, and I've mentioned to a few people, and hopefully it feels that way too. Something like people monitor and look after the Facebook group for a month at a time. And in that month, you can be in charge of what posts you want to be sharing. It might be about your, the elders you meet, et cetera, et cetera. It might be that you're a networker, so you find all these great links of things that are happening, and that's what you choose to post in the group. I think the point is that something is posted and someone is responding to what other people post, and whether that's 2 different jobs or it's only one. But the idea was, if you had 30 days to be posting and bringing things to the GTEM community, what would you do, right? So you might be an artist who is painting and doing trees and doing this and that, and so you're sharing some of your paintings, and some other artists that paint trees, so like it could be whatever your particular passion is. So that's what I wanted to say as an idea for monitoring the Facebook group. Anyone else want to jump in? Well, we've got our 1 minute to go. I know, Hillary, you have to go at 1:30. Yeah, anything you'd like to add?
I just think this is incredibly exciting, and I think that the trees are you can just feel them. They're sort of jumping up and down. They're waving their arms and their branches, and it just very quickly reminds me of a scientist who actually put brushes on the ends of on the branches of trees and put canvases beside them, and then had the trees painted with that movement. But she also measured it to see should that movement have equated into steps how far would the tree have walked over the course of a year? And it was around the world 3 times. So it's things like that, that to give us an appreciation of these amazing trees. And I think they're asking us to step it up, and to really co-create with them in a really unique way. And I have a bias, and I'm very clear about my bias, as Delia knows my bias. But I just get that strong sense, and this has been such a joy to come on and just to see all the creativity in this group, and the love of trees that brings such a beautiful energy. So thank you.
Thank you, Hillary. And
Thank
bless
you.
you all. Bless us all.
Absolutely. And putting into the Facebook group the Jamboard link and the recording, we can ask everyone else that's on the group. We have like 140 people or something. Please watch the recording, put your stuff on the Jamboards, like let those be our canvases for creation. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Love
you,
you all.
everyone. Ajna, do you want to stay on for a moment and we'll just
I'll stay on. I'll
Yeah.
stay on with you.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
Till
both.
next time.
It's happening.
It is. It is.